to the Season 2 premiere of The Tailgate, brought to you by Verizon. 5G built right from the network more people rely on, only on Verizon. I'm Michelle Margaux, and that is our co-host, Ralph Vacchiano. A lot has changed from Season 1 to Season 2, but one thing has remained the same, and that is that Ralph and I still haven't met in person.
It's unbelievable. I don't know for sure that you exist, except that you show up on my TV every couple of days. Someday, it'll be good to meet you in person.
Let's dive into the comments section and see what fans are expecting from their teams this year. Ralph, how many wins do fans think that Gang Green has in them this season?
Well, not many. I did a Twitter poll to kind of gauge where they were thinking, and more than 90% of the fans think they're going to be under 500, and more than half of them think it's going to be somewhere between 0 and 5 wins. And the really weird thing about that is it's not that Jets fans are pessimistic. I think they're being realistic, because when they look at it, the comments were about how, they're a young team and, they have a rookie quarterback, and of course they're going to struggle a little bit. So they might be the happiest, most upbeat group of fans expecting only 5 wins that I've probably ever seen.
And what about Giants fans?
Yeah, they're not so happy. They're really kind of much more upset at the way the Giants are going right now. And the misery for them is the same source of misery that, we've been experiencing now for the last 3-4 years. The offensive line stinks, and that takes away all the excitement of Saquon Barkley returning. There's a lot of angst about what Daniel Jones is going to be, in large part because he's playing behind an offensive line that stinks and is going to get him killed. So, they may win more games than the Jets, and maybe considerably more games than the Jets, but probably not enough to keep the fans optimistic. I think they're looking for an off-season of change.
Let's call an audible and welcome back friend of the show, Bleacher Report's Connor Rogers. Connor, thanks so much for joining us. Last time we spoke with you, you said Zach Wilson reminded you of a bigger version of Russell Wilson. So now the preseason's over, is that still the impression that you got?
Yeah, I think you could see some of it even in the live game action. I think, a lot of the things that make them both great are playing out of structure, and the Jets staff clearly did not want Zach to take those kind of chances in pure exhibition games. And I think what, really you could see with both of them is the twitched up quick trigger mechanics where the ball effortlessly comes out and it gets to where it needs to go. But you could also see when things break down, they both put air under the ball for the deep passes and throw with touch and timing.
Yeah, at practice, those similarities were pretty evident. I think that's a sane comparison to the style of Russell Wilson. Didn't see much of it in the games, I don't think. But again, when we get to the regular season and he's really forced to improvise and throw on the run and make much quicker decisions, I think we'll see that. And I said sane comparison, by the way, because just in the last couple of weeks, we've heard, Chris Collinsworth say he looks like an Aaron Rodgers lookalike. We heard Tony Romo, who once compared him to Dan Marino, now say he could be in the stratosphere of Patrick Mahomes. My head's spinning from all of this. Is Tony Romo just crazy?
I think everybody's looking to have some fun, right? I really like Zach Wilson, and he's actually one of the highest graded quarterbacks I've ever evaluated coming out of a draft. A lot of guys can't throw the ball the way Zach Wilson can, and it's off platform. It's the different arm angles. It's the athleticism to not always just run out of the pocket, right? I think we kind of pigeonhole that as a trait, but to maneuver the pocket, dip your shoulder and reset and find a new pocket when the original one breaks down. And I think a lot of people have seen Rodgers do that for a long time. And I think you see flashes of that with Zach where, traditionally that's what gets us excited, right? You're not going to see Mac Jones do that. You're not going to really even see Joe Burrow do that a ton. So it's a reason to be excited about him. But yes, Ralph, I'm not going to put that comparison on the 22-year-old Zach Wilson.
Let's stay on the subject of quarterbacks with a little coin toss, Connor, and then Ralph. Who do you think is going to have the better season between Daniel Jones and Zach Wilson?
Ooh, it's tough how you define that, right? I think Daniel Jones is going to be given the freedom to do a little bit more where the numbers might jump out a little more. Daniel Jones should have more passing yards, theoretically. Daniel Jones is probably a more gifted runner. I think the rushing yard total should be higher for him. But we're talking about efficiency. Daniel Jones hasn't been efficient. He's given the ball away a lot. And I think the Jets coaches are going to really rein in Zach Wilson and coach him to try to not do that. So if you're looking for bigger numbers, Daniel Jones should have the bigger numbers. But when you're looking for efficiency, running the offense and taking care of the football, I think Zach Wilson will have the edge there.
Yeah, I mean, my God, it better be Daniel Jones for the Giants' sake, because they need him to be what they've expected him to be, what they've said he's going to be. There is a lot riding on him, obviously. We don't know the health of everybody, but they go out, they get him the weapons he needs, and he should have pressure off of him because of the presence of Saquon Barkley. The Giants are a team, and I'm not saying they're going to win, but they're built more to win. They're built more to succeed this year. So Jones's numbers should take that huge leap. If you want to predict a guy to have 30 touchdown passes, 4,000 yards, that should be him. They hope that's him. If Daniel Jones's numbers are below Zach Wilson's at the end of the year, I think honestly you are probably looking at the final year of Daniel Jones as a starter in the NFL.
The one thing about playing for Coach Robert Saleh is he's going to bring that energy and that juice day in and day out. The guy that you see on camera, that's who he is off the camera. And this guy is authentic as they come. And as far as leading men, he's going to put you in positions to make plays on the field. And he just knows how to bring a group of men together. And guys really feed off of that. They love it. And that's why you hear so many players saying they want to come and play for this guy. And then his mantra, all gas, no brakes. He literally lives that. And then his players embody it. So playing for him, you better be ready to bring that juice and energy.
I'm in the pocket. Woo! I'm in the pocket. Woo!
Time to head in the pocket where we put money in your pocket. And Connor, we have the Jets as 5-point underdogs at Carolina. So who do you take?
I'm a little surprised by this line, right? I thought it would be closer to the traditional 3.5. You get those 3 points for being the home team if you're Carolina. 5's a big one. I think the Jets are going to be competitive. I really worry about Carolina's offensive line in this game, especially against the Jets' interior defensive line, which is no doubt the strength of their team. I think this is going to be a nail biter. I think it's going to be right down to the wire. So I love the Jets to cover that really, really big line against a Carolina team that haven't proven that they're that good yet under Matt Rule. We got to see it before we start laying money on them.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree overall with Carolina, but I think this is a tough spot for the Jets. They have so many questions this summer. Obviously, key injuries like with Carl Lawson leaves you wondering what their defense is going to look like. We don't know about that young secondary. I think Sam Darnold is primed for a big year with the weapons that he has down there, and a chance to get off to a good start against the team that dumped him is a little too juicy for me, so I would go with the Panthers.
Ralph, Giants also underdogs by 2.5 points hosting the Broncos.
Yeah, and I don't think they're too happy about being home underdogs. I don't think the Broncos are that good of a team to be able to go on the road and, be a favorite against the Giants, who I think if they get all their offensive weapons back are going to be at least a mediocre team, if not a little bit better this year. I think the Giants could win this game outright at home.
It's going to be a tough one, right? I think both teams are going to struggle to score. These teams are built on their defense. I really liked how this Giants defense looked last year. They should build on that going into this year. This comes down to one thing for me here, guys, and that is the Broncos pass rush against a Giants offensive line that I don't think can block anyone. I really don't. So the spread, a little tricky. If I had to pick, I would take Denver. I just like the under in this game. I don't think there's going to be a ton of points, but the Giants have to show they can hold off really good pass rush duos like Von Miller and Bradley Chubb before they can go on winning any games.
Let's look at some season win totals. Jets over under 5.5 wins, Connor.
I think they get right over this, right? And it'll be close, especially the Carl Lawson injury really hurt them. And their kicker situation is really interesting, which people laugh at. That can cost you a game or two and factor into these. I think they're hovering right around 6 or 7 wins, just because Robert Saleh will have these guys playing for him right down to the stretch. It's a bad quarterback schedule. They don't play a lot of good quarterbacks. They have the Bills week 17. The Bills might be sitting everyone by then. There's a lot of sneaky wins here for the Jets that 5.5's a little low. They only won 2 games last year, so you're not talking playoffs, you're not talking double-digit wins, but 6 or 7, I think they can do it.
Ralph, over or under 7 wins for the Giants?
They better be over that win total, otherwise they're going to be in a lot of trouble and have a lot of questions in the offseason. But they were 6-10 last year because of their defense, and they had absolutely no semblance of an offense. And they're now getting Saquon back, added a number 1 receiver, added a better tight end, added more depth at receiver. And you would think the quarterback, when he's fully healthy, is going to be a little bit better. I know the division is better, which is a problem for the Giants, but I think they should be able to get at least a couple of more wins to go from being bad to mediocre. So I'll take the over.
All right, gentlemen. Zach Wilson listed at plus 600 for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Any takers?
Oh, I'm in. I'm definitely in on that. The Offensive Rookie of the Year, to me, it's all about opportunity, right? Najee Harris of Pittsburgh is a guy I would watch, but how often is he going to get the ball? We'll have to find out. The quarterbacks are going to have the ball in their hand and can really dictate whether they are the Offensive Rookie of the Year or not. And you've got only 3 right now that are surefire starters. Zach Wilson is one of them, so I think he is a really good bet to at least be in that mix for Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, it goes to show you Vegas is hopping on board. I hammered this at plus 1,000 2 months ago, and now it's plus 600. So it goes to show you 2 preseason games can do you wonders. But I like Najee Harris as the favorite for this. He was plus 800 recently, and it goes back, honestly, Ralph, to your exact point, opportunity. I know Najee Harris is getting the ball. He's getting the ball a lot. He's getting the ball thrown to him. He's getting carries, especially in the red zone. 4 running backs have won this award since 2013, so it can be a running back heavy award. Najee Harris, the favorite. Zach Wilson, though, decent value there.
All right. Bleacher Report's Connor Rogers, thank you so much for joining us. We very much appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
Let's get into victory formation as week 1 gets closer. And Ralph, what New York football personality do you think is under the most pressure in 2021?
Yeah, by the way, we might be the only ones in victory formation anytime soon, the way these 2 New York teams have been going. But the personality, I think, is clearly Giants general manager Dave Gettleman. I mean, it's the year where everything has to come together for him. And it's not just for the fans. I know they hate him and they're tired of his rebuilding, but I think for the organization too. He has spent the last 3 and maybe a 4th year putting together these young players, and he believes in them, but they better show it this year, because if after 4 years, if you're still meandering around 5 or 6 wins, then you're just not a good general manager, and it's time for a team to move on. And you know the way Giants fans think of him. Every loss, every bad play is going to end up being a reflection and referendum on him. Unless they make the playoffs, there's going to be a lot of people calling for his head.
So Dave Gettleman is first. Where is Daniel Jones ranked?
A very, very close second. It's a make or break year for him. He has 1 more year left on his contract after this one, but this offseason is when they have to decide on his 5th-year option. It's normally when they would begin negotiations on a contract extension. And you know, the biggest thing for him, the Giants have 2 first-round picks next year. If they want another quarterback to replace him, next year may be the time to get it.
All right, well, that'll do it for the Season 2 premiere of The Tailgate, brought to you by Verizon. For Ralph Vacchiano, I'm Michelle Margaux, and we'll see you next week.